Today on the Transplant Helper, I'm going to be helping you set priorities to help you get things in order if you're on the road toward transplant. Stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome to Transplant Helper. Today, my name is Jim Merle, and I'm asked the same question all the time. That is, Jim, I'm facing transplant. What are some things, or what is the thing I need to be concerned about, and what do I need to do with my life? Especially concerning things like priorities. Where should I order my life in order to make it successful? Well, let me start out by saying that if you were to go back and do your studies in English dictionaries back, say, 200 years ago, you might not find the word priorities with an S there at all. As a matter of fact, I don't think there even was a word with priorities with an S back then. They spoke of priority because they understood then that in their minds only one thing could make it to the top, only one thing could be supreme in their lives. That's what they had to do. And certainly I follow that pattern maybe when I say God, family, and country, that sort of thing. Yeah, I understand that. But when it comes to your health, sometimes there will be multiple priorities with an S, multiple things you need to be doing all at one time in order to be successful. So let's suppose for just a moment, theoretically, that you have just been told you need a transplant. Doesn't matter what it is, heart, lung, liver, kidney, pancreas, any of that, you need a transplant. What are you to do? What are some of the steps you need to take? Well, let me start out by saying number one, that is your number one priority in this, is you need to start a blog. You say, wait a minute, I'm not a writer, I'm not into blogging, I'm not into sharing my life with the world, that sort of thing. Yeah, I get that. More and more people are, but maybe you're not one of them. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just using the word blog in replacement of the old word diary or journal. You need to start one of those, whatever you want to call it, for the main purposes of really documenting your feelings. Not only documenting how you feel emotionally, spiritually, that sort of thing, but documenting how you feel physically. Because a lot of times when you go into the doctor's offices from now on into transplant and farther out than that after transplant, they're going to be asking you how you feel on specific times and at specific moments. How do you feel when you get involved in some stressful situation? How do you feel when you get involved in strenuous activity? How do you feel when you're resting? That sort of thing. Are you able to rest? They're going to ask you a bombardment of questions that if you're not ready to document those things, to blog them out, make them in a diary, put them in a journal, you may not be able to offer that information. Let me encourage you, while you're doing that, put real information in there too. Things like your vital signs, like your temperature, your weight, your blood pressure, your heart rate, your blood sugars. Put down those basic triage things inside of that same journal so that, and in order that, when you go into the doctor's office, you can present that information to them right there, not necessarily on a spreadsheet per se, although you could do that if you're nerdy like me, but present it to them in a way that they can understand it and it's logical and they can see patterns in that. And that's especially what matters, because as I've said here on the program before, a lot of what matters when it comes to being listed for transplant is how you feel, not just what the numbers in a lab say. So be ready to blog, to journal, to write a diary, whatever. Document your life. And one day you may look back and see the wonderful blessing that you get and how far you've come. That'll be just a bonus in there too. So first priority is to start a blog. Second priority, which also goes all the way to the top, the way we're talking today, is that you need to become dedicated, completely dedicated to living this life. Make sure that you're in it to win it. Make sure that you're in it to go the last inch of these miles that are ahead of you, because they may get very long. Oftentimes, the wait times on the transplant list can be difficult. Different things can arise. There can be setbacks where you can be put on the list, off the list. You can improve enough, which makes you, come off the list, but you don't feel that great. There's everything and anything could happen during this journey, and you need to be completely dedicated. This will be your life now, to be dedicated to living, You will make the biggest impact on your life compared to anybody else, period. I know the doctors, the nurses, the coordinators, your family, your friends, your acquaintances, your co-workers, all of those people are going to be pulling for you too. I will certainly be praying for you as a transplant helper, but aside from that, even in spite of that, You need to be pulling for yourself. You need to become your number one fan, your number one cheerleader, even though that can be hard, and push yourself. Don't give up. This is certainly going to be worth it. So priority number 2, make it your life to live life. Priority number 3, and this one goes right to the top, just like all the rest. Be ready to go ahead even today and start your new career. You say, hold up, wait a minute, Jim. I can't even hardly get out of bed. I can't even hardly move. I can't do my own daily activities. Look, I'm not talking about that. You need to be starting toward and getting ready for your new career that you're going to be a part of the rest of your life. Whether you come out of transplant and you have a 100% improvement, you go back to work, you get to the grindstone, that sort of thing, makes no difference. Or whether you stay on disability because you have no choice the rest of your life, you need to start your new career today. And let me tell you exactly how you can do that. Go ahead today and begin to prepare yourself to, in some senses, to become a doctor. Now, I always disclaim on this program when it's appropriate, I am not a medical doctor. Can you hear that? Can you see it? I, Jim Merle, am not a medical doctor. But in some senses, I am, because I'm going to learn as much as I can, at least about my condition, my problems, my life, as the doctors in some senses. I'm going to put my work in. I'm going to get the knowledge that I need. They say knowledge is power. You need to become a doctor. You need to know your situation inside and out and be able to communicate with the real doctors a lot better in doing that. At the same time, while you're starting that new career as a doctor, you need to become a pharmacist. And that's because you need to know your medications. I can't tell you the number of programs, and I'll probably have dozens more that I've covered that have to do with medication management, how important our medications are, how much that means to our survival, how to take them, how to travel with them, how to protect them, how to keep them secure, how to make sure you take them on time every time, the right time, that sort of thing. I deal with medication management all the time because sadly, that's the area in which if we're going to make a mistake, it's probably going to be there. So start thinking like a pharmacist. Start thinking like someone whose life depends on taking the right pill and taking them at that right moment, that sort of thing. Because for you now, honestly, it probably does. So start your new career as a doctor, start your new career as a pharmacist. Now start your new career as a physical therapist. That's what you're going to need. You see, the rebound time after transplant is the biggest factor in the whole thing. Your ability to jump up out of that bed, not literally probably, but to jump up out of the bed, start walking those halls, or just in some senses start standing or sitting up in a recliner, how quickly you can do that and how much you're willing to push yourself to get beyond just doing that is going to make all the difference. Yes, I had a very successful transplant. I'll give you that. I was the guy who had his breathing tube out in 45 minutes, was sitting up in a chair the same day, walking by the next day in a lot of pain, but at least doing it, and then within a few weeks doing miles of walking. Now, I can't necessarily keep that up every day, but I could accomplish it then because I was pushing myself. I became my own physical therapist. So much so, very few people are blessed with this, and it was probably a dumb move anyway, but so much so when physical therapy came in to see me on 2 to 3 different occasions, they told the doctors, look, he doesn't need rehab. He doesn't need physical therapy. He's got this. So at least set your mind to being able to do that. Become your own physical therapist. And then the last one here, in starting your new career, and I know this is a lot to do. You'll be wearing a lot of hats. You're not only going to be a doctor, a pharmacist, a physical therapist, you need to be a psychotherapist too, or psychologist, because the things that start happening in your mind post-transplant, especially on all those medications like that old devil's drug I'll link to here, it can be awful. The brain fog, I can link that up here too. I've already talked about it. That can be terrible. And you need some motivation around you, your friends, your families, and all to encourage you and to remind you that this was all worth it. But also on the inside, you need to go ahead and get your mind, your heart set. This is your real heart that matters here. You need to get your heart set that, look, I'm pushing through this, whatever it is. Not that it's going to be just a matter I can't say it. Not that it's just a matter of mind over matter. It's more than that. But just prepare yourself. And if that means getting on Google, getting on your computer, doing some study, reading some books, watching videos like this. By the way, thank you for watching. If you like the video, go ahead and thumb up right now or subscribe. But if it means getting to be a part of something like this, joining transplant communities like the Transplant Helper, whatever your appropriate grouping is, get involved and get your psychotherapy started now, because unfortunately you're going to need a little bit of that. So to recap, I think there are 3 things, probably 300, but at least 3 things that we named today that need to be at the very top. It's number 1, number 2, number 3, but at the top. First thing, start a blog. Second thing, set your mind that you're going to make it. And then third thing, start your new career today. Be a doctor, be a pharmacist, be a therapist. You be what you need to be, because you're going to be the best at it above everybody else. And seriously now, if this has helped you out in some way, how about give me a great big thumbs up, like this program, consider subscribing today here, maybe hitting the bell notification, and share this out to your friends and family. It may be able to help them. And now, without any further ado, why don't we just give away a blog mask? I've got some Vlog mask right here. Here's yet another one that I'm going to be giving away today. If you'd like to receive this Vlog mask, the perfect thing for you to do right now, especially if you're on Facebook, or if you can get back to Facebook, go ahead and share the video. Like my page, The Transplant Helper, if you haven't already, and then go ahead and share the video out. Let me know underneath the video, I shared your video, and you'll be put in a drawing to win yet another Vlog mask. So if you want about a $35, $40 mask sent your way for free, now's the time to do it. But until you do that, and until next time we meet, stay stronger, friends.